The Prime Minister has been in Perth today talking about his government's pledge to spend $1.2 billion creating a critical minerals strategic reserve if it's re-elected. The sector has been a hot election issue, seen as a key bargaining chip for Australia in its trade discussions with the US. The Resources Minister, Madeleine King, joined me a short time ago to discuss the announcement. Minister, thank you for your time. Will a strategic reserve increase Australia's chances of limiting the fallout from US tariffs? Is that at the crux of why you're taking this approach?
The Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve, it's really important to be clear that this is a national asset of Australia. So this is an asset that will work in Australia's interests, and that is good for our own strategic purposes, for making sure we have the resources in this country to build the things we want to make here in Australia. But it also means it's a really important piece of the puzzle when we deal with other nations, be that our partners in Japan or Korea or the US. There are a lot of countries that want the resources we have, that want the processed resources we will have, and that's why the Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve is so important.
There are 31 minerals on the critical minerals list. Of those, which specific minerals are you planning to physically stockpile? Which ones are you prioritising?
Yeah, well, we will have a process around that. We do have to prioritise some of those 31 minerals, and that will be a process of consultation with industry and those that are literally extracting this from the ground, and capital investment as well, because we need to be really thorough about assessing where the risks are posed in the supply chains. And every one of the 31 critical minerals has its challenges, but some have more challenges than others at particular times. And so we will go through a process. We're not about guessing what's the best thing to do. It's about working through this thoroughly and diligently, and with thoughtfulness and, of course, evidence. And that's what's going to be really important.
You mentioned the processed product. Just to clarify, are you planning to buy refined chemicals, so the finished product, or just concentrate? Because as you're well aware, the majority of concentrate dug up in Australia has to go to China first to be refined and actually become useful.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's the monopoly of supply chain that we're trying to break here in Australia by investing in the production tax credit system, which is $17 billion of tax credits to drive that from the concentrate or the ore to the concentrate, then the concentrate to the further processing and refining of critical minerals. And the strategic reserve plays into that. So what we will see is an assessment of what particular items we want to put in that reserve based on that consultation process. And that may well be a type of concentrate, but once we get the processing industry on foot, and we're developing it right now, there are rare earths refineries being built as we speak because of government support and private investment and investment from our like-minded partners. As that comes online, there may be a need to have small targeted stockpiles of that product, as well as the concentrate or indeed the ore. But that is the process we go to after Albanese government is re-elected.
Okay, it sounds like there are lots of details still to be worked out, but you know you want to have a physical stockpile in Australia. Some products like lithium hydroxide have a shelf life of only 6 to 9 months. So have you got a plan around how you store that, what you're going to do about storage?
Yeah, well, I mean, that goes to the point about the consultation. So having the principle of a reserve is a really important step. It indicates how government can support the industry. It attracts more capital investment into both the extraction, the concentration, but also the processing, like you say. And I agree, and that is absolutely true. A number of these products do have shorter shelf lives, so not all of them will be suitable for a stockpile, and others will, and in what state they come in has to be decided. And that's really important, and have been a very important part of the Albanese Labor government's approach in the critical minerals industry is that we do consult with industry. We make sure we find out what the best thing to do is. We don't guess at that, because of the exact problem or issue you raise, is that not everything lasts forever once it's processed and has to be moved into a particular product or supply chain. But this is all about making sure we have that capacity to move right along that supply chain and offer resilience to Australia primarily and first, but then to our trading partners that want to invest in this as well.
The Minerals Council warns the reserve may impact the commercial viability of operations through continued downward pressure on commodity prices. How would pricing be agreed? Will it be off global indices? Because, as you know, those are impacted by China trades anyway. And when you on-sell those products, would you seek a price premium?
Well, the thing is, other groups are very supportive of the Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve. The MCA oppose nearly everything I propose, so I don't really take their comments very seriously anymore. What we know is that all of these commodities are subject to a lot of international market pressures. They have been for some time, and we keep trying to address this, and we're addressing this by many different pieces of that puzzle, I suppose. So with the production tax credits, extending the critical minerals facility, making parts of the Northern Australia infrastructure facility available to critical minerals projects, and now this really important strategic reserve. So if it is the case that the MCA and the Liberals and the Nationals want there not to be a critical minerals and rare earths processing industry in this country, well, I'll leave them to be them. And I will pursue, and the Albanese government will pursue, and if we are elected, will be determined to pursue a critical minerals and rare earths processing industry in this country.
So, Minister, sorry, just let me get this straight. You can't tell us which minerals you want to buy, how much you'll pay for them, where you'll buy them, or where you'll store them. For a $1.2 billion announcement, I understand the need for consultation, but the details, as announced today, are pretty thin.
Well, Ash, you've just said the amount of money, so that's there, the 1.2. What we'll pay for them, of course, we have to... I mean, if the proposal that you're putting forward is that we should, make these things up right now, well, I don't support that kind of approach to policy development. And you'll see from the comments of industry already made, including AMEC, that they welcome the reserve and they welcome participating in developing exactly the issues you have raised. Where they are stockpiled will depend on where they exist. There are many mines right across the country. There are rare earths, an arc of rare earths refineries from Eneabba in the west into Kalgoorlie to Alice Springs and over to Dubbo in the east. So, any one of those places may be a place, but we have to go through the process, and that's entirely reasonable. And I would expect that your listeners and those viewers would appreciate that and think it's a good thing.
Resources Minister Madeleine King, really appreciate you making the time. Thank you.